World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another fantastic Tuesday where we here in Yonkers, New York are doing what we do best, which is helping you get to that next level of your financial understanding. Welcome to the show, Leverage Your Score, where we help you, again, get to where you want to be. Where do you want to be? What is your goal as we wrap up 2025? Where do you want to be in 2026? Talking about the beginning, the middle, the end. This is the best time, the absolute best understanding of how you now get in front of these circumstances. We're dealing with a lot of politics. We're dealing with a lot of inflation and financial situations that might not be ideal for a certain ethnic group. And it's our job now to help you navigate that space, understand the things that you're going to have to do to move forward, and then execute. That's it. Execute. If you do your part, we are going to be here. Those experts like myself who focus on credit, who focus on a couple of other areas within that financial space, are experts like Dr. Yana B, who is a wealth of knowledge. Eridita Anderson, who has joined the show, who is equally a wealth of knowledge. We have some of the best talent available that are established and authorities in this space. So I'm going to constantly keep asking, what do you need from us to help you navigate this space? How do we make it more effective and efficient for you to be able to do what you need to do while you're navigating that 9 to 5, that first and second job, those kids in their household, the relationships, whatever it may be? Your financial understanding has to now become a priority. It cannot be 5th, 10th, 12th, 14th in line. It needs to be 1 or 2. So again, my name is Tyrone Glover. I'm the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery and also the Executive Director of Yonkers Young Entrepreneurs. And I am grateful that you have made time to join in the conversation. We are here live in Yonkers, New York on Soul City Network. And Soul City Network is our home for great content. So if you are someone out there looking for something in that area, Soul City programs are available nationally on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. So if you are looking for something in this space, you are at the right place in time. We are created and designed for this very moment in our history. So you can't tell me in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 7 years, I didn't know, because we're now putting it out there. We're now telling you we are available for any financial situation under the sun. You want help? You need assistance? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, you have to now get in front of your situations to change what you don't like. You get in front of them. The experts are already here. We're already well positioned. We're already skilled, knowledgeable. And all we want to do is make sure that you and yours find that financial freedom, stability, and you can live out the rest of your days in the manner in which you choose. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the Great Divide. And the Great Divide, pretty simple. When you start seeing some of these data points, you're probably going to be like, whoa, I didn't know this was really going on. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's really going on. And the more that you understand how to, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to find yourself in a great position to do what you need to do. All right. Really simple, really easy. And as always, I am so grateful to be able to do what I do because it allows for me to have equally as much fun. And trust me when I tell you, I love having fun. I love it. I think it's super important that we continue to keep growing and that we continue to keep assisting in whichever manner we can. So if I can get those slides. There we are. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So thank you again. The Great Divide. The jig is up. The jig is up. We now know what they're doing. We know what they're doing. And our job is to make sure that you equally know what they're doing. All right. So the Great Divide. The jig is up. Real ones in the room. Schoolroom to Boardroom by Tyrone Glover. Schoolroom to Boardroom. This is a pipeline that we are creating. Schoolroom to boardroom, because we already know that they have another pipeline out there. And that's the schoolroom to prison. And we want to dismantle that. We want to upset that one. We want to create youth that understand that if you get in front of your financial situations, again, start learning these basics of how money works. Then start investing, then start learning how to trade, then start learning how to establish good credit, then start learning how to create leverage for yourself so that when you do have to put your money into some type of a financial organization or into some type of financial program that's supposed to give you a good ROI, return on your investment, you'll know exactly what to do. The days of ignorance, the days of not knowing are over. And we're going to make sure that you have what you need moving forward. All right. So opening power statement. We are witnessing the most profitable era in history, the most profitable era in the richest country on the nation, or excuse me, not in the nation, but the richest country in the world. Yet, the working poor, marginalized communities, and the middle class are drowning. And why? How is it that we're so rich and we have so much in abundance, but yet 3 categories of society are drowning underwater? And it's all because of what we do not know. Now, I'm going to address that a little bit differently. We know part that we're not doing is the execution, because our forefathers and our ancestors have made it abundantly clear. They've laid the platform. They've laid it all out for us to do. And somewhere along the road, we got sidetracked. But we can get right back on track. All right? The system isn't broken. It was built this way. It was built to snatch away what you believe you're not even worthy of, which is a great credit score. To snatch away what you believe you're not even worthy of, which is how to invest properly. To snatch away what you believe that you're not even deserving for, how to trade effectively and create multiple income streams. The average millionaire has 7 income streams. The average worker has 1. You will never work your way to becoming rich or wealthy. You can get that first job, that second job, that third job, that fourth job. Again, still won't get you there. And who pays the cost if you have a family? If you got that many other responsibilities that you have to take care of to maintain that household. So as I said, we are a wealth of knowledge, and all we're going to do is make sure that you have what you need, because we already know the system isn't broken. It was designed this way. So, America's illusion of prosperity. Wall Street soars while Main Street collapses. How many bailouts have you had over the course of? Oh, you got a stimulus at some point, and you might have gotten this at some point, but how many bailouts have you had? I can count at least 8 for the airlines. I can count multiple bailouts for the banks, for the housing, for the autos. How many bailouts have consumers? And you know what those bailouts are, right? That's taxpayer money. Do we get that back with interest? No. And this is why it's so important to understand how the system itself is preventing you from the very understanding that you should have. There's nobody out here who should have less than perfect credit. There's nobody out there who should have less than perfect credit. Based on all of the information that I've been able to acquire over the course of, say, 20 years now, long time, the gray. But over 20 years now, the information that I have, that if we decided to come together and used it to our advantage, man, what a community we would be. But we have to decide, Wall Street or Main Street, which one? You can continue to keep making sure that all the stores that you visited on Black Friday, all the outlets that you went to on Cyber Monday, these created holidays, as you already know, because Thanksgiving was about grocery shopping. So the retailers, meaning fashion and all the other ones, said, hey, wait a minute, we're not making any money because everybody's spending their money on food. So let's create a holiday. Let's create a shopping holiday called Black Friday. And then the tech bros said, whoa, hold on there a second. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. We're not making any bread either. So let's create another holiday, Cyber Monday. Again, Wall Street, Main Street. You can help both while you're still capitalizing. But we've been putting a lot of our attention into Wall Street, meaning making sure they're richer with our dollar. Not investing in the manner in which we should be looking at Wall Street. But again, that's another topic for a much, much broader conversation. GDP rises, but the people's wallet shrink. So gross domestic product. Again, our GDP is doing exceptionally well. Again, we can look at and discuss this, that, the third, and so forth and so on. Still not going to change the fact that if you don't follow and listen to what I listen to, then you don't know what I know. And I'm not here to insult anyone. I'm here to give you information that is going to hopefully turn on that light, as I do every single time when I walk into my classrooms. I turn on the lights, and then I get to see, wow, this is what the classroom looks like. I get to see all of the manipulatives on the boards and all of the assignments that are available for our students to come in and start getting that knowledge. But until you do the exact same thing, you're walking in the dark, folks. You're walking in the dark. So you have to decide what's more important. You have to look at and decide, what am I going to be putting a lot more energy into? And if you do, you're going to be good. You are going to be good. All right. The illusion of prosperity hides a nation in debt and despair. So again, what I'm telling you is something that you probably already know. You're probably sick and tired of wondering why. Why is that paycheck don't make it to the full month? Why is it that I'm out of resources by the 23rd or the 24th, and now I have to hopefully not beg, borrow, and scrounge to make ends meet? But you should always be making ends meet. But you can't make ends meet if the ends have not been sufficiently met from employer. So it's really overdue time for this conversation to have been had. And I'm glad that we're having it as we're wrapping up 2025 and looking forward to 2026. But you're going to have to decide what's more important. If you decide what's more important, a lot of this won't be hindering or hurting you any longer. So numbers that can't be spun, right? These, as much as they may try, these numbers can't be spun. Top 10% own 67% of the wealth, right? You have to decide. If we're making others rich, Shouldn't we be focusing on making sure that our bottom lines are already taken care of? If we've got that much wealth that we keep pumping into a process that is not giving us a return on our investment, maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe we should start thinking a little bit more strategically about how we should be navigating this space. The bottom 50 share less than 4%. Help me help you understand, how is that possible? 10% own 67 and the bottom 50 share 4. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you already know. We are the perfect consumer. They designed that word strategically for us for that reason. They have set up a system to where all we want is the stuff, not the stock, not the ROI. All right, 1% earn 139 times the bottom 20%. Okay, so if they're going to keep talking about, well, income is on the rise, but for whom is the income on the rise? Clearly not the working poor. Clearly not the ever-eroding middle class. Clearly not the marginalized communities. They're talking about that top echelon. If you listen and view the programming that I view, this Cyber and Black Friday, the bottom 50% barely. They barely made a move in that area, but it seems like those in that top echelon, oh, they were out shopping. They were out shopping because money, under every single understanding that I can think of, has always trickled up. Trillions have trickled up, not trickled down as they had hoped that was going to be part of the overall understanding, that we give more to the rich and they will let their coffers overflow and we'll be able to capture what's overflowing. But you know what they did, right? They put another bucket underneath that. And then once that one started overflowing, they put another one underneath that. And once that one started overflowing, they put another one underneath that. So I can go on and on and on and on and on. While households hold 84% of wealth, so meaning white households hold 84% of wealth, Black households hold 3.4, Hispanics hold 2.3. Look at that chasm, that Grand Canyon size hole that has been created between three ethnic groups. What are we talking about here? This is not new. This is data that anyone can find, information that anyone can find. So I'm giving you the opportunity to live out to 2025, reward those kids as long as they're doing right, reward that mate and spouse and whomever that you're going to, as long as they have been showing that understanding. But in 2026, you might want to start shifting based off of these numbers. Until we decide that we're giving way too much of our hard-earned to others to make them rich, it's never going to change. But these numbers do not lie. Right? So the wealth heist, wages stagnated, rising costs, disappearing pensions. Does that sound familiar? Wages stagnated. Again, think about the minimum wage federally, $7.25. Now, I'm going to be talking about this in upcoming shows, but think about, why is the federal government leaving minimum wage at $7.25? And the states and businesses have decided to raise theirs to acceptable or understanding levels for their consumer and for their citizens within those states. But there's a story behind that. I'm going to save that one for the next show, but I'm going to share it with you. But the story behind that isn't very favorable. But the federal government can do a much better job, and I'm hoping that as time goes on, they'll realize, well, you're going to have to set a new standard. 725 since 2009 doesn't work. Okay, just doesn't work. Automation and outsourcing marked as efficiencies. Well, they are efficient for the company that's doing it, that's reducing their overhead to bring in more revenue. Yeah, if I can outsource it to somewhere where I can pay those individuals $3, $5, maybe up to $10, when I know in the United States I might have to pay up to 17, New York State, 15, depending on where you are in New York State. Yeah, a company's going to do what it needs to do for its bottom line. And I'm not here to bash, degrade, or use any particular company as the black sheep. No, do your business, do your thing. But understand that we're getting smarter, we're getting wiser, we're getting savvier. We're using the same understanding, the same technology as you are. So when we now come, we're coming correct. We're coming correct to correct what has been successfully undone. Your best practices are your best practices, but they're your best practices. They're not our best practices. All right. Policies written by those who profit from our struggle. Okay. We used to have multiple meat factories. Let's just use that as an understanding. Now it's down to, if I'm not mistaken, 7, probably even less than that. We used to have steel. I was just doing something in class talking about Carnegie and Rockefeller. Rockefeller, if I'm not mistaken, was oil. Carnegie, if I'm not mistaken, was steel. But nevertheless, if I got it backwards, my apologies. But nevertheless, there was 40, 50 major steel factories on the East Coast. And obviously, as time went on, they got bought out, because the bigger one gets, they tend to, again, lower prices, raise whatever it is to offset the difference from other companies. So those companies can't survive. What do? They sell. We used to have large telecommunications. We're down to a select few. We used to have local stations, TV stations. Now those local TV stations are now getting bought up by the conglomerates. So the news and information is now being streamlined. So you can say 4 or 5 is not a monopoly, but I can tell you that it is, because they can go to Davos, or they can go to the Cayman Islands, wherever it is that they sit under the sun, and discuss how much they're going to raise prices. They're never going to lower prices. How about how much they're going to raise prices to continue to keep seeing that 10, 20, 30% increase. But we have to do more. We have to do more. Policies written by those who are profiting off our struggle. And they're profiting only because we're not doing our part. Our part is tuning in, getting this information, and becoming a wiser, savvier, smarter consumer. All right. Amazon's about to lay off, or has laid off, thousands during record profit. How? How do we continue to keep supporting a company? And again, I'm not against their practice of delivering and purchasing. I'm not. I think it's phenomenal that I can get something from, but these companies got subsidies, taxpayer dollars, to build their warehouses, to get their businesses off the ground, taxpayer money. And when they show a profit year after year after year after year after year, they buy their stock back. They don't decide to say, oh, you know what? I'm going to make sure that you have a living wage. I'm going to make sure that you have insurance, not just the basic health insurance, but I'm going to make sure that you have dental and vision. I'm going to make sure, and Amazon has done a phenomenal job at doing that. I've watched some of their commercials, so I'm super impressed that they are now stepping up. But this layoff, isn't Jeff Bezos the second richest guy on the planet? Come on now, Amazon. Come on now, all of you companies that took subsidies, taxpayer money, but you decided to buy your stocks back, when you should have been increasing the overall well-being of your employees, because that's what the whole trickle down was supposed to be. And we got it. We caught on. The jig is up, as we already know. So now we're having the conversation with the general public about what it is that you're going to do to make sure that these companies that we work for, we're giving our hard-earned, we're giving every bit of our blood, sweat, and tears. We're neglecting our families to do what we need to do to keep a roof over our head, but it's not being reciprocated. All right, executive rewards for cutting jobs. They're rewarded for cutting jobs, because that is a business practice that if we get hit with this, that, or the third, well, the first thing to do, slash the workforce. Because we know that the individuals that are still there are going to do even more, because guess what? Oh, I don't want to get slashed. So I'm going to go in, instead of going in at 8 when I'm supposed to, I'm going to go in at 7. I'm going to give them more of my time, because we live and we work in a state of fear. At will states is something that I think Congress needs to rethink about. At will states. So you can be fired at will. Can't be hired at will, but you can be fired at will. Again, I'm still mind boggled over a lot of the things that over the course of my life I thought would never happen in this country. Greed is not a flaw, it's a fixture of the model. Think about that for a minute. Greed is not a flaw, it is a fixture of the model. So it was designed for the very reason. Keep those submissive, keep those oppressed, keep those wanting more, and they'll still continue to keep doing, because they see the reward in the stuff that they're able to buy. We don't see it in our 401k. We don't see it in our bank statements. We don't see it in our lower interest rates on our credit cards. We don't see it in the gas prices. We don't see it in the food prices. But keep us scared, keep us intimidated. And it's sad to have to say as well, keep us uneducated. So there's a lot of things that we still have to do, ladies and gentlemen. Greed by design. So the stock market mirage. Markets rise because workers are paid less. Share buybacks inflate value, not productivity. The market is not the economy. And we hear that all the time. The market is not the economy, because a large percentage of you are not even in the market directly. Indirectly, you are through a 401k, 403b, Roth IRA, CD, or whatever multiple investment platforms that are out there. So you're in there indirectly. Life insurance, you're in it, but what do you really know about it? And it's overdue time that you start learning more about how these things work on a day-to-day basis. I can tell you some stuff about how money really works. But you have to decide. You have to decide what's more important. Is it feeding the beast or turning off that spigot? If it's giving more to the machine that's grinding us up, or reducing or pulling back significantly so that the machine doesn't keep doing what it's doing to the next generation. And all it takes is knowledge. All it takes is information. All it takes is the will to want to know more about how do you become financially stable? How do you become financially independent? How did you become financially free? There are a lot of components to all three of those. But nevertheless, you have experts that want to do the job. All right, the vanishing middle class. Yes, the ever eroding middle class. Once the engine of America, now the endangered species. Oh, yes, because that ladder has gotten, or shall we say that gap between poor, middle class, and the chasm that has been created that has now the wealthy, or it could be the rich, the wealthy, and now the uber wealthy. So you got poor sliver, the smallest portion, middle class, which is ginormous, but then you got that rich, which it's almost impossible to get to if you're in that ever eroding, vanishing middle class. And then you have new categories that were created, which is wealthy, and now the unimaginable uber wealthy. Crushed by healthcare, housing, and debt. Let's add on to that student loan debt as well. Well, debt is debt. All right, but student loan debt, 1.89, depending on what outlet you listen to, $1 trillion. Student loan debt, if I'm not mistaken, has surpassed credit cards and auto, which is, I mean, it's mind-boggling that we saddled our kids generation after generation with debt that they can't even get a job to start paying off. There's a lot that was done that needs to be undone. And I'm all for forgiveness of those student loans because it was a rouge. It was a farce. We can sit here and say back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but the God's honest truth is that it was a rouge. These companies knew what they were going to do. They had the playbook, as we all now are finding out. And they did exactly as that playbook was designed for them to do, leaving millions upon millions of citizens struggling. It's shocking to know that 60, 70% of those who have gone to college didn't even finish their degree. And they're hit with 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, upwards of thousands of dollars on student loans. And they're working as baristas at Starbucks, or they're working as clerks at Target or Walmart or Macy's, taking on 2 and 3 and 4 jobs to try to pay back something that they technically should have never jumped or elevated to that level of interest. But this is what happens when our government chooses not to protect its citizens. And then it gives the private sector free rein. And it doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't monitor them accordingly. Our youth deserve loan forgiveness. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on that because our youth do deserve financial loan forgiveness. They do. They rightfully deserve it. And I hope that as we move into the next understanding of what this country is going to be, are we going to be a democracy or are we going to be a dictatorship? But whatever direction it chooses to go, I hope one of those things that should be in there is making sure that we forgive these loans that didn't do what they were supposed to do, these student loans that didn't do what they were supposed to do. The American dream now requires a loan application. Come on now. It now requires, again, not saying it requires to get a house or to get an apartment, but you literally almost have to sign away your whole entire life with no ROI, return on investment. And you're still going to get the tiniest chunk that they can possibly give you out to you. So what is it that you have to do? What is it that you are needing to do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is step one. You have to find someone who you believe in. You have to find someone who you trust, who can walk you through what I'm talking about here. You should not be thinking about leaving your kids or leaving the ones that you are the authority of seeing their upbringing or their well-being. Your job is to make sure that they are prosperous. Your job is to make sure that they have the wherewithal to navigate any storm. Because if you do, I'm telling you, they're going to be better than good. So why wages lost to assets? So capital earns while labor burns. Oh, wow. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Capital earns while labor burns. You're not going to work yourself to becoming rich. It's not going to happen. But if you learn how to invest properly, if you learn how to create leverage off of your investments and how you make money really work for you instead of thinking that you work for money, oh my God, it's going to change everything about what you thought your future was going to be like. And I'm super excited that I get to talk to students on a regular basis about these very same things. And it is not shocking, but their minds are blown. They think, wow, oh my goodness, this guy is talking some real stuff. Is this what my life is going to look like if I don't do X, Y, and Z? Yes, it is. We could talk about AI, and that's going to be another one of the topics that we're going to talk about equally in upcoming shows. But AI is already predicted. They've said, and again, depending on which areas or news outlets or wherever you get your information, we've already said 100 million jobs in the next decade. So you need to be looking for a safe place to put your skills and talents so that AI doesn't find you dispensable. Or your employer doesn't find you dispensable or expendable. All right. Assets appreciation outpaced wage growth 5-1. And that's probably even higher. I'm just using that as a baseline, but it's probably even higher, 5-1. So that means your money grows when you have assets. And when you're working, your money doesn't grow. It's being subtracted. It's being subtracted. Think about your paycheck when you get it. First thing that's taken out of your paycheck is taxes, subtraction. Second thing that comes out of that paycheck is your dwelling. Where do you live? That roof over your head. Third thing that comes out of that paycheck is your essentials. So subtraction, subtraction, subtraction. Where is the growth? Okay. And what's left over isn't enough to even begin to put into the growth, because sad to have to say it again, sad to know that the majority of Americans don't even have $1,000 to cover an emergency. By design, ladies and gentlemen, by design. Those who own win, those who work wait. All right, those who own win, because that money is constantly, it's moving, it's doing what it needs to do, it's going into the system, it's staying in there days and days after days, weeks after weeks. Then think about this for a second. In the African American community, our money stays in our community 6 hours. Other ethnic groups up to 28 days. So again, there's another key factor that should alarm people about, whoa, pause. How is that? And the only way to change that is to start diving deeper into what you want as a life. Because the struggle, I'm sure you don't want. But what kind of a life do you want? All right. Lost ownership. Communities once owned their stores and land. Now foreign and corporate ownership dominates neighborhoods. Ownership is power, and we gave it away. Look around your neighborhoods. Look at all of these new apartments that are being built. Oh, by the way, you won't be able to afford to live in them because they're not affordable housing. They're building apartments in Yonkers at $500,000 to $700,000 per unit. Again, if you can give, or if a venture capitalist can move into your neighborhood, buy up swaths and swaths of land, and build apartments that you can't even afford to live in, what are we doing, folks? What are we doing? Legislation got to change. Legislators got to change. Big money, we love you, we appreciate you, we want to be partnered with you. But if you continue this understanding, we know how to disrupt it in the same manner that when you take us to court or you get in our pockets, we can do the exact same thing. And I think we're reaching that level of where we might have to start doing that very thing. But we're going to have to decide. We're going to have to decide. The cities in which you were born and raised are now becoming unaffordable. We got to do a better job. Good evening, Sade. How are you? We got to do a better job. Thank you, everyone who are putting in the questions. I want to give a shout out to Power to Plan. Again, another amazing young lady whose shows are on Monday. Monday at 5 o'clock. I think I got it right. But nevertheless, Mondays, Soul City Network. It's an amazing platform for the youth. And I think everyone should turn into that on Monday. I also equally, as I always, give that shout out to Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse on Thursdays. All right, Access Wealth Nation, amazing content. You want to stay up on top of your game where you're going to have to do a lot more. And once you start doing it, it becomes easy. You're an amateur now, so it seems like it's so hard. Oh my God, I don't have the time. But think about it. You have 168 hours in a week. We know 8 or 7 of those are going to be dedicated to sleeping. We know 8 or 7 of those are going to be dedicated to working. So those 2 alone are going to take up a good, maybe 100? That still leaves 68 hours. You might go to the gym, but there's still enough time for you to be able to run that household as effectively and successfully as any other business. You're the CEO. What are you going to do? Not only are you the CEO, you're the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the president, the vice president. You got a lot of hats to carry or to fill within that household. And I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you this. If you decide that you, your family, your children, your future is more important, you will start investing that time. Because if you do, I'm already telling you, I'm already putting it out there. You're going to be good. You're going to be better than good. But you got to want it more than those of us who are presenting it to you. All right. Financial illiteracy by design. All right. They never wanted you to know how money works. They didn't. Lack of access to credit, markets, and capital isn't coincidence. Financial ignorance is profitable to the system because they created another platform or another outlet for those who, again, have less than perfect credit. It's called subprime. They've created another outlet for those who can't, or as they call them, are unbankable. Check cashing. Okay, there's so many side conversations being had about your money, your resources, when it should be a very simple understanding, as it always was. You knew your local banker. You could go down to your local banker because there was a relationship established and you can get what you want. Prices weren't through the roof, but now because of greed, as we already talked about, these things are even more out of reach, creating this illiteracy that should not be existent or prevalent in our understanding today. But it is. So you got to start wanting to know more about money. You got to start wanting to know more about capital, more about markets, more about credit. The more we break up this ignorance of financial literacy, the more profitable we all are going to be. All right, so day trading, the great equalizer. Now, a lot of people say, well, what is this day trading stuff? How come people are now talking about it? Well, what does it really do? Is it a scam? Is it a sham? What really is it? I'm here to tell you, day trading is an equalizer. It's a job. I'm not going to get deep into it. I'll save that for another time frame, but it's a job. Just like getting up every single morning and going to work. It's a job. You're going to get good at it. It's just like being an athlete. You're an amateur. But if you put in that work, that dedication, that time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears like you do for anything else, you're eventually going to start reaping the rewards of knowing what the Wall Streeters do, knowing what the banks do, creating leverage and negotiation skills, which we all lack tremendously. So this is not a substitute. It's an additive to. I think that's what I'm looking for. Yes, an additive to. It adds to your bottom line. It allows for you to do something in the shortest amount of time and get a nice return, but there are more components to this. So don't think that, oh, I'm going to jump right into it and I'm going to be an expert at it. No. You're going to fail just like everyone else has. But I can tell you now, if you put in that work, the Kobe Bryants of the world, they all started out as amateurs, but became one of the best basketball players known to man. The Stephen Currys, the Messis, the Rolando, I think that's his name, the Williams sisters, tennis. Again, we can talk about Tiger Woods. We can talk about the greatest of greatest athletes ever. They all started out as amateurs. And this is just another one of those areas. But if you get good at this, you just got to put in that work. If you get good at it, again, your future is already written for you. The destiny is already there. The question is, will you be available for your future? Or will someone else write your future? All right. Accessible, dynamic, skills-based wealth creation. Bottom line, buy, sell, repeat. Buy, sell, repeat. Profit from precision, not privilege. All right. Discipline and knowledge. Discipline and knowledge can outperform inheritance. Discipline and knowledge. Isn't that something that we talk about all the time in our academic spaces? Isn't that something that we talk about all the time in our homes? Isn't that something that we talk about in our workplaces? Discipline and knowledge. Being disciplined about something makes you valuable, I guess. Yes, that's a good word. It makes you an authority. It makes you become somebody that somebody wants to listen to because you're disciplined and you're knowledgeable. And as I said, it goes right back to that. It allows for you to do one thing and one thing only. It allows for you to have leverage. And when you have leverage and you compound that with negotiation skills, oh my goodness, you are a force to be reckoned with. Compound that with a credit score of 800 or above. Compound that with 7 income streams. Compound that with having insurance and dental and vision. All of the dignities that's supposed to come with life and work. Now you start living versus just existing. But this is just one of those components, nothing more. It's an avenue to. All right, so 7 streams of income. Millionaire average 7 income streams. Workers rely on one, their job. Build income diversity, business, real estate, trading, royalties, digital, investments, partnership. These are the things that we should be talking more about at that dinner table. We should be having multiple conversations per year about the family and how the family is financially literate. And those are the ways in which that's going to happen. You're going to have to build income and you're going to have to diversify that income into other skills that you have perfected. Whether you've perfected those skills working for somebody, whether you perfected those skills teaching others, whether you perfected those skills by being part of the military or being part of any type of an organization that has allowed for you to contribute to that growth of that organization. You are more talented than you ever possibly knew. Not only are you more talented, you've been gifted a God-given talent, regardless of whom you may worship, but you've been gifted a God-given talent. And unfortunately, we're too busy trying to survive the struggle, wasting that God-given talent, wasting all of that potential that I see every single day when I walk into a classroom, that I see every single day when I walk out the classroom and walk through my neighborhood. When I get the opportunities to be at the library and sitting down with individuals who attend the workshops that we have over the library. We are brighter, smarter, more talented than we ever could possibly imagine, but we're allowing a system that was designed to deprave us, keep us in these unfortunate circumstances. So if you have any questions, I know we're wrapping this up. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate. I want to thank all of those who have already dropped a few questions in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But keep them coming. My job is to keep you informed. Can you put those slides back up? I think I accidentally. Thank you so much. Oh. All right. So again, we're on autonomy of a paycheck. Taxes, inflation, debt eats every dollar. Okay, your dollar isn't as strong as it used to be. And it's really sad that we're talking about something that should have been increasing in value, but for those in that working poor, ever eroding middle class, marginalized communities, the dollar has actually gotten weaker for us. Did you do any shopping over the last couple of days? You go into the grocery store? I'm sure you have. Have you seen what has gone up? But we're still out there consuming. We're still out there making sure that those stores are richer and wealthier because we're not just buying our essentials. We're actually doing a lot more because it's the holidays, when we should be sending a clear signal. But as I said, I'm gonna let you guys get through the holiday. I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. But in 2026, I'm hoping that you're making a course correction. All right. Wages can't outpace inflation or greed. Your labor will never get you to where you want to be. It won't. The abilities that should have come with the labor, meaning, as I said, that dignity that should have been there that allowed for us to be able to prosper as we went from, say, 1 year to the next year. No, I've seen individuals and talked to individuals who can tell me that they haven't had a pay increase in 5, 6, 7 years. The small little marginal increases that New York State did, again, not taking anything away from the leadership of New York State. But again, that was pennies. That was pennies compared to what the real welfare queens get. So those of you who are getting food assistance and housing assistance and all the other assistance, congratulations. Rightfully so. Obviously, if it's deserving and you need it. But for those of you who are large companies getting subsidies while you are profiting and buying stocks back, that's something that needs to be explored a little bit more. But it is what it is. But it doesn't have to be that way. All right. A system designed to make sure you never catch up. That should scare you. It should alarm you. If it doesn't scare you, it doesn't alarm you, then maybe you need to check that pulse. But it should scare you and alarm you. It doesn't terrify me any longer because I'm doing the things that I need to do to protect my future. And now I'm doing even more to help you protect your future. All right, so the racial wealth gap. All right, centuries of exclusion has compounding effects. Access to capital, credit, and ownership remains racially gated. Wealth gaps isn't historical, it's intentional and ongoing. So again, those 3 areas right there should allow for you to, again, start thinking, wow, maybe there's some truth to what this young man is saying. Maybe there's some real backbone behind what he is presenting and what all of the content providers on Soul City Network actually in this space give you. It's about time that we start listening, folks. Because if we do, I'm telling you, the success that you want is only minutes, moments away. But you have to be, you have to want it more than anyone else. The deception of consumption. Advertising sold identities, not products. I love that one because, again, I see a lot of kids walking around with the Nike tracks. They got full Adidas suits, or they got the whole outfit for whatever that famous brand was. So you're literally walking around showing off the advertisement of what your dollar has purchased for you, but you don't own the company. Got to think a little bit more strategic. We trade freedom for fashion and brands. Yes, we're going to make them richer and richer and richer and richer and richer and richer and richer to the point where they're going to be wealthy. And now, uber wealthy off of our dollar, and also equally our tax dollar, our hard-earned dollar, and then equally off our tax dollar. Stop buying status, start buying stakes. Sounds a little bit odd, but maybe think about it. Stake in a company, stake in your cell phone company, stake in your grocery store, stake in what's going to give you a return on your investment. Because if you do, I'm already telling you, these are things that the wealthy, the uber wealthy, the rich do all the time. The working poor, the marginalized communities, and the ever-eroding middle class, we're still trying to catch up. It's not going to happen unless we get in front of it. All right? Reclaiming power through ownership. If you wear it, own it. If you use it, own it. It's just that simple. There's a lot of platforms out there that you can already start investing in. $5, $10. Get your kids started in it as well. $5, $10. They're 18 or they're 12 or 6. Start looking at some of these platforms that are already out there. If I'm buying Nike, then I need to buy Nike stock. If I'm buying Adidas, I need to buy Adidas stock. If I'm buying a Tesla, I need to buy Tesla stock. If I'm buying a Volkswagen, I need to buy Volkswagen stock. If I'm buying Ford, and so forth and so on. All right, consumers must evolve into shareholders. Because once you do, you're going to start seeing what I'm saying, that return on that investment. Ownership turns every dollar into a vote. Oh, yes, your vote matters as well. And when you have the money to back that vote, when you can hold a legislator responsible and accountable to not sell out that vote to a lobbyist, oh, now we have power. Now we're back in the game. All right, group economics, pooling resources, shared power, co-opt credit unions and investment clubs, rebuild communities. The chain is strongest when the links unite. And this is what this is all about, folks. Putting that power back into your hands. New economic blueprint. As I started off the conversation with, schoolroom to boardroom. Educate because empowerment. Schoolroom to boardroom. Education becomes empowerment. My apologies. Financial literacy plus civics responsibility equals generational change. We will teach, invest, and own together, but we have to do it. All right, so the Real Ones Manifesto. We no longer feed the machine of greed. We reclaim our time, talent, and treasures. This is economic emancipation, not participation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for giving me the time, ending these quote, to present to you something that I believe if you get in front of this understanding of this great wealth divide, you are going to minimize the impact that potentially could hinder you from the life that you want. All right, so power shifts when we stop renting our wealth. Thank you for being part of the conversation on Soul City Network. I want to appreciate, and as always, continue to keep giving you information and aspirations to become the person that we already know that you can. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, as always, my name is Tyrone Glover, Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery and the Executive Director of Yonkers Young Entrepreneurs. As always, be safe, America.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.